Hey guys, I'm Lilah from theHigginsCreative.com, a branding and marketing agency for online coaches. I have a more clear vision for what I want to help you guys uncover in your business and in your life, so I'm going to be focusing this channel on creating visuals and getting visible. So if you don't know what either of those things are, go to my welcome video and you can see a little bit more about what I'm about. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I create custom brand elements for my clients from the comfort of your own couch on your own phone. Yep. Consider subscribing and sharing these videos with your friends if they were helpful for you. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, let's dive in. Download Pocket and open that on your phone. You're going to push the plus button up in the corner and hit square. You can pick any size you want, but I usually just do a square. You're going to open the brush library and pick your brush of choice and draw your elements. Now, if you don't know what elements to draw here, you can look on Pinterest and get some inspiration. I'm just going to show you a few different options that you can use that will give you kind of an idea of the kind of elements I like to make for clients. I'm doing some little hearts, and you can use other types of brushes here too. You don't just have to use the sketch brush. Keep in mind that when we put this into Illustrator, it's going to change the nature of these brush strokes. Now, Procreate comes loaded with all of these brushes, so feel free to play around and create different textures and different options for your specific brand style. I'm just going to show you a couple different options and ways to incorporate this. Once you have what you want, you'll go up to Modify, and you're going to press the little wrench icon. And if you've got Apple products, you can just airdrop these to yourself, but if you need to email it, you can do that too. I select PNG, which is important, and I'm going to airdrop that to myself on my computer. And then we'll open this up in Illustrator and I'll show you how to process them for use. All right guys, so getting started here, you're just gonna open Adobe Illustrator and you're gonna create a new file. That's gonna open up a new document panel, and I normally will just name it whatever the name is, and then I like to usually have a 20-inch artboard. That's just a square with just one. I don't always actually use the artboard, so it's really just to get started. So you want to click and drag this artwork over into Adobe Illustrator, and it's going to put it in as a PNG, so it's not going to have the transparency, and so you'll want to image trace it. So if you click this button up at the top, it says image trace. Click OK on that box that pops up, and it's going to trace it automatically in black and white. Now, you can go to the tracing results and see different options there, as well as under the preset. If you want it to be a really clear depiction and similar depiction to what you actually colored, you'll want to click the very top one, which says high fidelity photo, but here's an example of if you were to pick 6 colors. So as you can see, this actually gave it a little bit more texture than it would if you just did it black and white. After you've decided on your preset for your image trace, you're going to hit expand, and that's going to create vectorized versions of all of these images. So after you've expanded it, you want to right click and click ungroup, because all of those images are grouped together. You want to get rid of all the white by clicking on the white areas. I'm going to show you here how you can see it's got a white background. So you want to click all the white areas and just click delete. And you'll see it kind of saved some extra images here. That is totally fine, especially if you're going to put these on white. So to group each element, you'll want to click and drag over it, make sure you're selected on all of it, and then hit Command G or Option G on a PC. Now, to recolor these, if they have multiple colors in them, you'll want to select the image, you'll want to go up to Edit and Edit Colors, and then Recolor Artwork. You'll be able to see the gradients of color that were chosen from that image trace, and you'll want to just come in here and play with these colors and get it to the point where you want it to. Remember to keep the darkest dark and the lighter light, just like the grays, but bring in that color. You're gonna click OK when you're happy with it, and that's how you'd recolor something that has multiple colors in it. You can also stretch these, play with them, and these can be used as buttons on your site. You can rearrange them, resize them, reshape them, delete pieces of them, etc., until you're happy with how these elements are coming out. Obviously, if you image trace to black and white, it's way easier to change the color of them, so you can go in and do that. Delete any of the white pieces before you do that, so you're not stuck like me, removing all of these white pieces after I've recolored them. So I like to go in and group each of the elements before I group them all together as a single element. It just makes it easier to piece them out if you want just pieces of them instead of doing them all together. If you're having trouble selecting them, you can always go in and use the lasso tool instead of the square selection tool. And you can grab all the images within that lasso, press Command G, and then they're all grouped together. Using the eyedropper tool, you can steal colors from other elements that you've created. And like I said, these elements can actually be stretched and rotated and used multiple times within your brand, even when it's just from one specific element that you've created. Now I'm going to show you how I might take all of these different brand elements and colors and put them into a social media graphic, just to show you kind of some usage for what these kind of elements can do for your brand. So as you can see, I'm just using the same element over and over again in different colors with different directions, just to give you an idea like, hey, these elements can be used multiple times and can be useful as is or as you change them. Now here I'm just going in and chopping off any excess design element. Make sure that you save each design element separately before you go in and create an element, create a social media post like this, because you don't want to lose the texture of that element. Make sure with all your social media posts that you always put your logo mark on them. This is just an example of one with my initials. And then to export this, you just click, drag, and select, and hit Command Group. Command Group is your best friend, or you can right-click and hit Ungroup. And then you're gonna go into Window and open up Asset Export. Next, you're gonna click and drag that whole grouped image into your Asset Export panel, and you're gonna name it, and then you're gonna export it. And you can export it and then put it on your phone and put it on Instagram, or give it to your team member who does your social media, and then they'll be able to move it forward for you. So as you finish out, you want to make sure that you have a bunch of these images all in your brand colors, and then you're going to group them all like I showed you before and click and drag each of the separate elements into Asset Export. Make sure you export them as PNGs or they will have a white background, and you can keep these in a folder on your computer or save them to your phone so that you can create images on your phone. And it's really just nice to have a subset of illustrations that you can use in and around your brand and your website and your social media images. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you'll use this in your own brand and as you're creating stuff online. Becoming an artist or becoming an illustrator doesn't require a degree. It doesn't require hours and hours of work. What it does require is the right skills, the right tools, and you using your creative brain that God gave you to make awesome stuff. Until next time, this is Lilah Higgins reminding you to get visual and to get visible.